Good afternoon. Those that are on the platform now, the participant with Infinix Smart 5 should please rename that device with your name so that we can identify you. You can help us to rename that device with your name so that we can identify you. Thank you. The participant with Infinix Smart 5 device. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. This is 2 o'clock, and like we promised that we'll start the technical session 2 on dot. May I, on this note, invite Mr. Yahya Umar. Are you here, please? If you are here, you can unmute yourself. Let me introduce the chairperson of this technical session, Dr. Mrs. C.O. Ajiwale Orimogunde. She is the director of Institute of Continuing Education, Federal Polytechnic. She'll be handling the technical session for this afternoon. Mr. Yahya Umar, can you please unmute yourself so that we can have your presentation? You have 7 minutes to make your presentation. If you have a PowerPoint, you can share your slides so that we'll take your PowerPoint. But if you don't have PowerPoint, you can talk to your paper in 7 minutes. Mr. Yahya Umar, your time has started. You can commence the presentation now, please. Thank you.
Thank you. Permit me to stand on the existing protocol. I'm presenting paper on implication of security to instability development in Nigeria. Abstract. This paper argues that security and development is about human person. It is an overall process not a one-sided appears. Man cannot claim to be developed when his life is insecure. Guaranteeing the social, political development and well-being of citizens is the greatest assurance of attaining security for the state or society. First and foremost, in the light of the above, the paper recommends that gainful employment opportunity be created so as to enable the millions of unemployed youth who have become restless. If this is not done, certainly the incident of espionage, armed robbery, assault, pipeline vandalization, drugs peddling, piracy, courtesan, kidnapping, assassination, murder, examination malpractice, bunkering, terrorism, and other crimes will continue to develop the nation. Introduction. The security is fundamental to meeting people's developmental aspiration. Where there is safety, development process become faster. Related to submission by Olele 2012, argued that the security challenge of the 21st century in Nigeria has become almost intractable, especially given the onslaught of terrorism, crime, hatred aligned to national security architect. Craig Green, 2014, describes some of this division in Nigeria in the introduction of his two-volume completion of 1967
Mr.
to
Umar,
1970 civil
Mr.
war.
Umar, may I please observe you?
Yeah.
The title of your paper is Implication of Insecurity to Sustainable Development in Nigeria. Am I correct, please?
Yes.
Thank you. You can go ahead, please.
Nigeria has become developed by set of opposition, generalized stereotype, no necessary of the same order or may be imaginary, yet each welding the wound and reducing the hope of healing it. North versus South, Islam versus Christianity, alleging feudalism versus assumed socialism, federal versus unitary preference, traditional authority versus a cheap elite, have versus have not, each sinister undertone, tension, irreconcilable, and threatening withdrawal. The aim of this paper is to examine the extent to which insecurity has impacted on sustainable development and political stability of Nigeria and make recommendations. Research methodology. It is simply defined as a procedure of collecting relevant information for research purpose to answer questions. Relatively, it is about answering unanswered questions or to generate that which does not occur. It is also defined as a process of increasing limit of unawareness. Goddard Mailing, 1996. The paper adopts qualitative method of acquiring available data. Theoretical theory of sustainability was adopted. Sustainability theory was formulated by Judith C. Ender, a member of study group on global issue of German Council on Foreign Relations. She was senior researcher at the Institute of Advanced Sustainability Study in Potsdam, Germany, and now conducting pre-lesson social research. Argued that sustainability consideration on basic science, the quality of sustainability and philosophical perspective, transdisciplinary, humanistic, justice, and good governance is alternative to mainstream against the solution to sustainability challenges of complex system in developing universal, conceptual, irrefutable argument against representation of future generation. Conceptual review, security. The concept of security is meaningless without a critical discourse of something pertinent to secure. Indeed, security could be best understood within the context of referral or object. Security means absence of threat, emancipation of people as an individual or group from those human physical constraints, from carrying out what they should freely choose to do from their own free will, provided such act is not infringing on other people's fundamental human rights. Causes of insecurity in Nigeria. These include ethnic religion conflicts, weak security system, unemployment and poverty, porous border, systematic political corruption, weak judiciary system, economic imbalance, political violence base, insecurity and economic development in Nigeria since 1960. 60 years after independence of Nigeria are deluged about this principle and their leader, who have failed to deliver the good governance secure the welfare of persons on the principle of freedom, equality, justice, and the purpose of consolidating the unity of people. Nigeria are amazed and dismayed about their leader display of power affluence and financial recklessness. The socio-economic structure make the citizen feel compelled to be patriotic are lacking. There seem not to be any indication to end of poverty. Leadership failure and the socio-economic insecurity arising from misrule of the country polity has prompted Nigeria to begin to feel more and more offending for themselves, to the extent that some citizens procure arms and light weapons to defend themselves.
Mr. Umar, you can please, you have less than 1 minute more to wrap up with your presentation, please. You have less than 1 minute more.
In conclusion, the paper highlights the fact that despite the security measure put in place by government, private and public organizations, crime rate is unabated. The paper noted that unless standard of living of Nigeria is upgraded and the gap between the rich and poor is narrow, crime will continue to rise, thereby affecting the socio-political, economic development and stability. The paper has shown that the agitation by groups and the constituted of the security threat in Nigeria. Recommendation: crime rate in Nigeria will be on decline if the following measures are put in place. First, it is important that education is made compulsory at all levels. The measure will go a long way in improving the level of awareness and increase the literacy level. The more people are educated of their environment and motivated and productive. Secondly, gainful employment opportunity be created by government at all levels, state and local government, so as to reduce the number of idle mind, because an idle mind is devil workshop. The present situation where government is acting young.
Mr. Yahya Umar, thank you very much for your presentation. Thank you very much. We have cut off times for each presentation. Thank you. God bless you. It is on this note that I want to specially appreciate you and for giving you an ovation for being the first presenter at our technical session for this year's conference. And it is hoped that you and your colleagues actually put in the best to come up with this paper. Let me hand you over to the chairperson of this technical session to actually make comments on your presentation for the next 3 minutes while we take question and answer for the next 2 minutes. Yeah, 2 minutes after that. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, the presenter, Mr. Yahya Jabaru.
Thank you.
Nice presentation on implication of insecurity to sustainable development in Nigeria. Before we go on to questions, I want to call your attention to these technical issues in your paper. First, your abstract ought to be in one paragraph, just one paragraph. But what I have here is 3 paragraphs. And apart from that, the third paragraph, you look at your abstract, should have come before what you have in the second paragraph. So I think you should do something about this, rearrange. Then there are some spelling errors that should be corrected. And there are some other editorial errors. So I want you to look at the paper again, do the corrections, do the editing properly, and then you will resubmit for publication. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, man.
Thank you, the chairperson. I don't know if we'll have questions from members, from participants here on Zoom. If we have questions from participants on Zoom, the questions can be dropped on chat box, or the participant that have questions can raise hands. Anybody that has questions on the just concluded presentation can raise hands to ask the questions. Or alternatively, the questions can be put on the chat box here on Zoom. Thank you. If we have people, part of our viewers watching on YouTube, if you have questions, you can drop the question in the comment box on YouTube. We'll take that too. If you are streaming live on YouTube, you can drop your questions on the comment section of the YouTube. We'll take the questions, please. Mr. Abiodun R.O. should be ready. Mr. Abiodun R.O. should be ready. Mr. Abiodun R.O. should be ready to make presentation. After which we take Mr. Adamu Usman Jajere. Mr. Adamu Usman Jajere. Mr. Abiodun R.O. should be ready. After Mr. Abiodun R.O., we'll take Mr. Adamu Usman Jajere. Mr. Abiodun, you can unmute yourself, share your video, and you are welcome to make your presentation. You can unmute yourself, share your video, and please, you can make your presentation, please. Thank you. You have 7 minutes. You have 7 minutes to make presentation on the paper titled Educational Resources and Sustainability in TVET Amid Security Challenges in Nigeria. That is the topic of your paper, title of your paper rather. You can go ahead and make your presentation, Mr. Abiodun. Thank you.
Good afternoon, everybody. Mr. Abiodun R.O. The topic of my talk is Open Educational and Resources and Sustainability in Technical, Vocational, and Educational Training amid Security Challenge in Nigeria. Devising the means for learning materials is a significant aspect of learning. Having access to the appropriate materials, provided the necessary ingredients. Hello?
Sabiatu, you can unmute yourself and continue. You can unmute yourself and continue, please.
Okay.
It is not simple. You will see the effect because I'll be showing on our background.
Okay, I can go ahead, right? Hello, can you hear me? Okay.
Yes, I can hear you. I'm with you.
Okay.
Continue.
Resources and
Yes, go
sustainability
ahead.
in teaching and technical, vocational education training amid security challenge in Nigeria. Devising the means for learning materials is a significant aspect of learning, and having access to appropriate materials, providing the necessary ingredient for ease of teaching and learning process. But for the success scale of this media is looking challenging. Addressing this challenge is vital for ensuring inclusive and equitable quality education and learning opportunity for all, as outlined in the Sustainable Development Goal, as well for supporting the citizen in gaining sustainable livelihood. The development of open educational resources is a potential answer to this challenge, as it provides government, institution, organization, and individual with the access to some of the best materials available globally, allowing them to adapt the material to fit local content and reduce the costs associated with the materials and cost development. The term open educational resources is described as having the public access to materials and resources for any user to use, remix, improve, and distribute under some license. According to Ojo Ogunjobi and Adoke in 2020, open educational resources is defined as teaching and learning as research resources that reside in the public domain or have been released under an intellectual property license and permits their free use and repurposing by others. It is the material offered freely and openly to and adopt for teaching, learning, development, and research, considered in 2012. Open educational resources could be described as the availability of learning resources to students, self-learners, and educators online. Open educational resources could further be explained as free access to learning materials without any hindrance, at no cost, and with opportunity to compare and construct educational program and course content. Open educational resources as teaching and learning material that is easily available online for everyone to use, whether an instructor, student, or self-learner. Example of open educational resources include full course, course modulation, syllabus, lectures, notes, homework, assessment, quiz, classroom activities, video game, simulation, and others, according to Ojo 2020. Open educational resources have many unique features ranging from retaining, reuse, revisit, remix, and redistribution. Under this intellectual property at no cost, this feature make open educational resources distinctive in educational resources and have made case for its inclusion in technical and vocational educational and training. Technical vocational educational training refer to those aspects of education involving addition to general educational, the study of technology and related science, and acquisition of practical skills attitude. Under this knowledge related to occupation in various aspects of life, UNESCO in 2013.
You have less than 2 minutes to wrap up with your presentation. You have less than 2 minutes to wrap up with your presentation.
Is one. Objective of this study, the main objective was to investigate open educational resources and sustainability in technical vocational education amid security challenge in Nigeria. A special study as well examining the level of awareness of open education among technical vocational education training students in Lagos, determining the extent which open educational resources are utilized in delivery of technical vocational education program in Lagos, to find the extent at which security challenge is affecting utilization of open education among technical vocational education training students in Lagos. In conclusion, a descriptive In conclusion, this paper has empirically investigated open educational resources and sustainability in technical vocational education amid security challenge in Nigeria. The finding that experimentally show the usage of open education for learning is not effective. Open educational resources are not optimally used for teaching and learning of technical vocational education. The study vividly showed that the usage of open educational resources open to many security challenges and threats. Based on this result from this finding of this study, it was concluded there is no significant difference in the level of awareness and the extent of utilizing open education between technical vocational educational training students in Yaba Tech and Federal College of Education in Lagos.
Thank you very much. Thank you for your presentation. For subsequent presenters, please, one of the importance of these conferences, you talk to your paper, just let us know the abstract, more or less the synopsis of your paper. That is what we will request from you. Tell us your paper, the introductory part, the methodology, the objectives, if there are one, the methodology, then you tell us your findings, conclusion, and recommendations, then we'll pick up from there. That is what we will actually expect happen at this conference so that we maximally utilize our time. Thank you very much for that. Is for subsequent presenters. Just a synopsis of what you have, a summary of what your paper is to talk about. Thank you. Mr. Abiodun, let me hand you over to the chairperson for comments, and after that, we'll take questions if there are questions.
Thank you very much, Mr. Abiodun Aro, for your presentation on open educational resources and sustainability in TVET and security challenges in Nigeria. And I have the following observations on your paper presentation. First, when you have abbreviations, you ought to write them in full and then put the abbreviation in brackets. In your abstract, you have open educational resources, OER, and the TVET ought to be written in full so that any layman will understand what TVET means, technical and vocational education and training. So please do that. Then your abstract ought to be in single line spacing. This is very, very important. And I've also noticed some editorial errors in terms of spelling. Please, you need to look at the paper again and correct all those. Then your references. You need to revisit the references to align with American Psychological Association style of referencing. And I'm afraid, I don't think all you have in text, all your citations in text are reflected in the references. Please look at this again and do necessary corrections. Thank you once again for your presentation.
Thank you, Mr. Abiodun. I hope you have taken note of all the points raised. Please, do we have any questions? If we have questions for our YouTube audience, you can drop your questions on the comment box. For the Zoom audience, you can raise hands. Okay, I think the chairperson has something else to point out. Mr. Abiodun.
Thank you, Mr. Abiodun. Please, in your reference section too, when you are writing the references, you write the and not the full AND in your reference section. Please take note of this. Thank you.
Mr. Adamu Usman Jajireshu, please. So if you have PowerPoint, you can share your screen with us so that we'll take your PowerPoint. But if you don't have PowerPoint, you can actually go ahead and present your paper. You have 7 minutes, like others. You can unmute yourself now and make your presentation. Thank you.
Hello, everyone.
You can as well share your video so that we can see you. You can share your video as well so that we can see you.
Okay. Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Adamu Usman Jajer from Federal Polytechnic Bali, Taraba State. I honored the honor given to me to present in front of the qualified doctors here. Thank you so much. My topic here is education, the gear of national development. I don't know if you could hear me well. Hello?
Yes, you are clear. You can go on. You are clear.
Okay. Abstract. This paper vehemently emphasizes the contribution of education to national advancement. It points to the fact that a nation develops through achievement in education. This is because the contemporary world attention has focused on education as a device of launching nations into the modern world of science and technology, and with the consequential hope of human development in terms of living conditions and expansions of the environment. As no nation rises above its standard of education, education is the life well of a nation that leads to great growth and development. Therefore, Nigeria needs to appraise its present educational system and introduce innovations that will favorably ensure its competition with global standard wholly. Viewing education via these perspectives calls for proper funding from the tiers of government to revive the sector and produce desired results, which will gear national development. Nigeria is blessed with plethora of resources, but educational sector drive less due to corruption, policy discontinuity, inter alia, and government negligence. In respect to this, useful recommendations are made to make the nation benefit maximum dividend. Keyword: education, educational advancement, and national development. Education is the bedrock of any significant development. It is a means by which citizens are equipped with the necessary attitude, knowledge, and skills that will enable them to contribute positively to national development. It is a powerful agent of change and improves health and livelihood, contributes to social stability, and drives long-term economic growth. Standard educational system ensure that every girl and boy get the quality education they need to unlock their full potential and contribute to building a better world. Let me go to the second point. National development is a comprehensive term used to refer to development of every area of the lives of individual and their nation. It is the overall development or a collective socio-economic, political, as well as religious advancement of a nation, which is achieved through strategies mapped out by the government, BAWA B 2016. This holistic development includes the development of reconstruction of areas such as education, agriculture, culture, sports, science, and technology, and many others for the development of the individuals and the nation at large, Lawal and Abbey 2011. Thus, this paper examines education as a gear of national development. Now, concept of education. Education has been defined numerously by educationists, philosophers, and scholars from different fields. Education also comes in various forms with its unique features and importance as well. The system of education differs across the globe. In Nigeria,
Adamu, I actually gave a guide the other time that you should give us a summarized version and a brief version of your paper by talking to us your abstract, your background, the methodology, objective, methodology, conclusion, and findings, conclusion, and recommendation. These are the things that we need so that we can meet up with the timing that we're supposed to have. So please, you can actually make sure that your presentation going forward conform with that guide so that you can easily maximally manage your time. Thank you.
Okay, sorry, thank you so much. So talking about education advancement here, the Cleaner Ocean Foundation outlined the following ways through which education could be advanced. Educational establishments such as schools, colleges, and universities, organizations supporting the work of educational establishments or associated with them, such as parent-teacher organization, prize funds, standard-setting organization, teacher training organizations, student unions, examination boards. Preschools and out-of-school education, such as playgrounds, Saturday schools, summer schools, and homework clubs. Organizations provided life skill training, such as Duke of Edinburgh Award Scheme, Scout and Guide, Witchcraft Hook, research foundation and think tanks, learned societies, such as the Royal Geographical Society, museums, galleries, libraries, and so on and so forth. If the aforementioned channels are duly considered, education, we will get a kind of, educational advancement in Nigeria, which lead to the national development. Here we look at also the concept of development. Here we have the facet of national development, talking about the political, the scientific, the cultural, the economic, the material, and the social. The word national comes from the Longman Dictionary of Contemporary English. It refers to a phenomenon that embraces the whole nation. The term national development is very comprehensive. It includes aspects of life of an individual and the nation. We talk about according to Bauer, he said, it can be best defined as all-round and balanced development of different aspects and facets of the nation: political, economic, social, cultural, scientific, and material. Then let me talk about the conclusion here. It is worth of note that education constitutes a vital component of the Millennium Development Goals, which will shape the nature of social and economic progress in Nigeria for a better future. The education of a young one should be highly considered to enhance national and educational development. It is paramount, therefore, to develop the young ones physically, mentally, and psychologically, because they are the future of the country. Even though leadership is pivotal, but the leaders are not concerned about the welfare of the people. Their major preoccupation is accumulation of material wealth and keeping themselves in power at all costs. There is no serious thinking going on for the future of the country. If you contribute positively and put all hands on deck, a bright future will be ensured. For education to impact positively on national development, some recommendations have been made, and if duly followed, will address the challenges of Nigerian educational system. Recommendations. Number one, the federal government should endeavor to allocate 26% of the total budget for educational development as recommended by the United Nations organizations. Then federal, state, and local government should be an affair and responsible bodies in terms of funding education. 3, the private sector should also be made to contribute in funding by providing research grants, awarding of scholarships, and endowment of professional chairs in high institutions. An enabling law should be enacted to mandate multinational companies operating in Nigeria to set aside a minimum of 5% of their gross profit to finance education and allied projects, which must be tax-free. The government should also have a strong political will among the leaders to ensure continuity of educational policies and eradication of corruption. Severe punishment should be measured on financial crimes and other corrupt practices in educational sector.
Mr. Adam, thank you very much for your presentation. Let us not waste time for that. Let me enable the chairperson to actually take it so that you can take our comments. Let me enable her to comment on your papers, please. Thank you.
It is my honor. Thank you. It is my honor.
Thank you very much, Mr. Adamu, for this presentation. I have some comments here, and I want you to take note of these comments.
Okay, ma'am.
So that you'll be able to rework your paper for it to be publishable in our journal.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you.
Starting from the title, please, you need to reframe this title, make it better than what you have here.
Okay.
The organization of the cover page, you have to reorganize this. What you should have is first the title, followed by your name and your address before you go to where you submit the paper to, and thereafter your abstracts.
Okay.
Your abstracts will also be in single line spacing. And then in your in-text citation, you do not include the initials of authors. You use only the surname with the date. Like you say Adamu 2010. Instead of writing the initials are not needed. So use only the surname and the date. Then your subheadings in the body of the paper should be in initial capital letters. Do not capitalize everything. Also, your references are not well arranged. You should follow the American Psychological Association style of referencing, the latest edition. And when you are writing your references, you do not need to number, please. So you have to remove the numbering. And then you have to be consistent in the way you write your references. For example, if it is surname and initials. So when you use surname and initials, you don't need to add maybe first names to some others. You have to be consistent, please. Then your internet sources should be well referenced. When you have a material from the internet, you should have a topic or an author. The author should be stated. If it's an institution, the name should be written there. Then the title of that paper before you go to the web address. This is very, very important. And in conclusion, please, this paper needs major reworking for it to be publishable in our journal. Thank you very much for your presentation, Mr. Adam.
Thank you so much, Ma. I'm grateful. Thank you so much for the corrections.
Mr. Adamu, thank you very much. I hope you have taken note of all those issues raised, and we hope that you rework the paper accordingly and send it back for assessment in order to get published in our journal. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much. I'm grateful too.
Thank you. The next presenter is Mr. Isaac A, Mr. Abdullahi A, and Mr. Dia E. And they are to talk on the role of the academia in curbing insecurity in Nigeria, a study of Niger State Polytechnic, Zungeru. I'm afraid none of those people are here now. So, and since they are not here, we'll take Mr. Taufik Olaniwaju Alabi. Mr. Taufik Olaniwaju Alabi should get ready now. After we take Engineer Alasan A.N., Mr. Mohamed Ali, Mr. Mohamed Abubakar. So, should be ready after Mr. Taufik Olaniwaju Alabi. Mr. Taufik, you can unmute yourself to make your presentation. You can as well share your video so that we can have your visuals as well. Thank you. Mr. Taufik is expected to present a paper titled Language, Security Challenges and National Development. You're welcome. You can share your video so that we'll have your visuals.
Let me share the PowerPoint. I've been disabled from sharing the PowerPoint, please.
Okay.
Let me see if I can share the PowerPoint.
You can share your PowerPoint, please.
All right. Okay.
You can share your PowerPoint now.
Yeah, I'm trying to do that now.
Yeah, you have been unable to share your PowerPoint. You can go ahead. Mr. Taufik, please kindly.
Yeah, I'm trying to share. I hope you have seen it.
I know you are sharing. Kindly take cognizance of the fact that we.
Have you seen it? I've shared it already. Thank you.
Yeah,
so much.
We can see your screen. Kindly take cognizance of what we stated earlier, that we only need your name and your institutional affiliations.
My name is.
Your statement, your methodology, findings, conclusion, and recommendations, so that we can.
Thank you so much.
Save our time.
Actually, this is more like a position paper that I want to present.
Thank you.
The chairperson could have the chairperson
too, so that it will.
All right.
Okay. Thank you. Time consciousness.
All right. Thank you so much. Good afternoon to the chairperson, distinguished ladies and gentlemen. I'm Alabi Taufik Olaniwaju, presenting a paper titled Language Security Challenges and National Development. Actually, the way I have looked at the paper, we looked at it from a linguistic point of view. There are so many security challenges that are facing the nation now. And people have talked about security challenges from different perspectives. But unfortunately, nobody has been able to look at it from a linguistic point of view. That is the linguistic perspective. And from the paper, the introduction, we looked at it that this study is triggered by the upsurge of security challenges that we are facing in the country. Apart from that, what are those security challenges that we are facing? We can talk about terrorism, we can talk about kidnapping, militant attack, or no government attacks on different places. And having recognized that, we equally realize in this paper that the government has taken some steps in order to curb these security challenges, one of which is the passing of Anti-Terrorism Act in 2011. So not that the government has not done some other things, but government has taken so many measures. But up to now, we realize that the country is still faced with so many security challenges. And apparently, when we now look at it, Owolabi said, as vital as language is to human existence, little or no attention is accorded to it by national development planners. What they have been doing is to look at the national development from the point of view of GDP and GNP. People have not actually looked what is the contribution of language. How can we bring about language to cater for security challenges, to cope with security challenges, and bring about national development? This paper, however, looked at it, looking at language. According to Sapa, he said language is the key to the heart of the people. Language is very vital. Every society makes use of language. There's no way we can talk about development and we can't talk about language. Language seems to be the foundation on which other activities of human beings are built. And again, when you look at what Ogunshiji 2013 said, he said language exercises certain influence on its users, which can be social, psychological, cultural, educational, political, and so on. The theoretical foundation of this our work, that is the theoretical perspective which we use in this work, is Stubbs 1995, which is built on the earlier propositions of Jacobson 1960, Hines 1962, Halliday 1970, Brown and Yu 1983. What does it talk about? The theoretical foundation says that the theory proposes 7 functions of language, which include expressive and emotive function, directive and coordinative or persuasive function, poetic function, contact function, metalinguistic function, referential function, contextual and situational function. What is very relevant to this paper is to look at that of number 7, the contextual and situational function. As at now in Nigeria, this country is faced with so many security challenges, which is situated within the context of our society. How do we now resolve it? How do we now resolve it? Using the language at the disposal of the country to resolve it. And that brings us to what we call language situation in Nigeria. As at now, it is believed that Nigeria has over 400, between 400 and 527 languages in the country, different languages in the country. We have, within this multiplicity, we have English language, we have French, we have Arabic, we have the indigenous languages. But one thing that is very obvious, according to this paper, is that in our country, we have this, in the midst of the multiplicity, the English language has been given the prominence, has been given that prominence more than every other language in this society. And when we now look at it, we felt that when we are looking at English language does not circulate to the grassroots. The English language does not circulate to the grassroots. Within the process, we can talk about the diverse language situation. Like we can talk about the minority languages, which include Efik, Ibibio, Ijaw, and so many other ones. These languages coexist with French, English, and Arabic. The English being the official language is used for so many activities. And apart from that, we probably realize in this paper that Nigeria's constitution, you have
less than 2 minutes. You have less than
national policy on education are equally giving a pride of position to the English language. This dominant use of English language in Nigeria is not actually helping us. That is why this paper is now positioning, is now recommending the position whereby we talk about, we adopt more of our indigenous languages for use within Nigeria's multilingual system. And apart from that, so many people have talked about, scholars have talked about it, that despite giving prominence of position to English language, it has not actually, the level of competence in it has continued to go down. People are not actually, the proficiency level has continued to decline. That is what so many scholars have seen. And we are now talking that let us accommodate more indigenous languages. By the time we accommodate more indigenous languages, it helps us. We're able to reach those people that cannot actually speak the English language. We are able to mobilize them for us to overcome the security challenges that we have and build national development. Now, when we now go to the conclusion, in this paper, we are trying to establish language is core to all human activities. It is through language in Nigerian multilingual culture that we can get to the root and resolve all threats to security of lives and property. National development should lead to creation of new Nigeria, a nation where people live without fear for their lives and property, where there is peace and prosperity, where the general well-being of people is achieved and sustained. Recommendation. The recommendation, under recommendation, the paper recommends that we adopt more indigenous languages. Apart from that, the paper equally looks at it that the roles of languages in Nigeria to be redefined by revising the constitution and national policy on education to accommodate more Nigerian languages. The third one is the paper proposes the adoption and use of indigenous languages classified as major minority. They are minority when you are talking about population of speakers.
Mr. Taufik, thank you very much for your presentation. Thank you so much for your presentation. Let me quickly hand the meeting over to the chairperson for comments on your presentation. Thank you. I will implore you that you actually make notes of observations. The chairperson.
Thank you so much, Mr. Taufik Alabi, for your paper titled Language Security Challenges and National Development. I want to commend your efforts. I want to say that the paper is well written and well presented. I have a question here. In your recommendations, you recommend that some other languages that we classify as minority should be adopted for use along the three major languages, Hausa, Igbo, and Yoruba, for national growth. Now, how do you think, how soon do you think this can be accomplished in Nigeria, looking at the different languages that we have and the many languages that we have? Don't you think there will be a problem choosing some in preference to others? And I would have, I don't think whether you mentioned in your paper the use of pidgin language, English, as a lingua franca has been used in some part of this country. So your response, please.
Do you hear me? Hello, ma'am.
Hello.
Yeah, pidgin is part of the recommendation that we make in this paper, ma'am, that we need to adopt pidgin. And apart from that, when you look at it, when you're talking about these bandits and we're talking about terrorists, the problem we're having is language of communication. We realize that when we want to emphasize the use of English in all these communicative domains, it brings about problem. By the time we adopt more indigenous languages, we're able to talk with these bandits, we're able to talk with these terrorists in the language they understand.
Mr.
Alabi, now we go a long way.
I agree with you that we need more other languages. But my question is, how soon can we accomplish this in Nigeria? Looking at the different languages that we have, and wouldn't it be a case of a preference of some indigenous languages over the others? Because
okay, ma'am. Thank you, ma'am. The situation on ground now, when we look at how dear it is something we can adopt. It's not until when we maybe change the constitution or change the national language policy. We can start from somewhere. Let us know this is the way we want to approach this security problem. Let us try to communicate with people in the language they understand. And I think that will go a long way in helping us to solve. Many of those people in those villages, the grassroots people, many of them cannot speak English language. But we realize that many of them have information about these bandits and some of these terrorists. It is when you speak the language they understand with them. They feel comfortable with you, speaking their language with them. And when we are equally making advert and so many other things, let us make it in the languages that people will understand. And that apart, man, you equally pointed that all these new languages that the paper, that is the major minority languages. We realize that not all tribes, not all ethnic groups in Nigeria speak Hausa, Igbo, and Yoruba. There are some that don't speak the three. So how do we carry them along in this nation building? Let us give them, let us equally accommodate them by embracing some of these languages. Even the language we are talking about, the English, the Yoruba, and the Igbo language we are speaking about, how many of them have you put into books? We don't have them in books. Many of them only exist by the way we talk and write them. And those people from those areas too, they should be able to write their language. They should be able to communicate in their language. They should be able to speak their language. So let's get people who can accommodate with them, who can communicate with them very well, man.
Thank you very much for your explanation. Thanks so much.
Thank you, madam. Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you, Mr. Alabi, for that presentation. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much.
I think I now have Mr. Isaac Abubakar here now. Mr. Isaac is to present on the role of Nigeria, a study of Niger State Polytechnic Zungeru. Mr. Isaac, please, you can unmute yourself, share your video, and let us have your presentation. You can unmute yourself, share your video, and let us have. Mr. Isaac, kindly please take note of the points we raised earlier. Just talk to your paper. You have 7 minutes. Just talk to your paper. Let us know your name, your institutional application, your paper, your objective if it has some of the problem, perspective, then methodology if it exists, your findings, conclusion, and recommendation. That's what we expect that you tell us, so that we'll save our time. Thank you. You have your time has started. Your time has started now. You can go ahead and make your presentation. Thank you.
My name is Isaac Abubakar. I'm presenting a paper on the topic, the role of the academia in curbing insecurity in Nigeria, the perspective of Niger State Polytechnic Zungeru. Basically, the paper centers on the issue of insecurity in Nigeria, which is causing developmental challenges, such as endemic penury, high rate of unemployment, corruption, low industrial output. While the purpose of education itself is to promote self-resilience, self-realization, better human relationship, national consciousness, political and socio-economic, scientific and technological progress. All these lofty ideals of National Policy on Education 2004 can only be achieved in a secured and serene environment. Problems statement. Many academic research are abound on the challenges of quality education, but with little or no emphasis on establishing nexus between quality of education and insecurity. Examination of challenges of quality. You establish the relationship between quality education, knowledge economy, and development of human capital. In the same light, Ojukwu 2018 also identified factors that constitute insecurity of the school environment, which affect academic performance. Hence, considerable researches have been carried out in establishing the effect of insecurity on academia, but little has been established in considering the effect of low quality of education and other challenges abound in the academia on insecurity. Objectives of the study. Objective 1 is to explore the role of high level of education in Niger State Polytechnic Zungeru.
I think we lost him. I think we lost Mr. Isaac from Niger State. We lost him. Then maybe we'll wait for him till he has a good network and he will continue his presentation. While we do that, I think we can take the presentation. Engineer A.N. Al-Hassan, I'm not sure he's here. If he is not here, I can see Madam Ngozi Mogo. Let us take Madam Ngozi Mogo, please. Madam Ngozi, you can unmute yourself. Madam Ngozi, you can unmute yourself and make your presentation. You can unmute yourself and make your presentation.
Okay, I've done it. Hello, are you seeing me? Are you hearing me?
In the wheel of national development, I can hear you. Madam Ngozi, you have 7 minutes. Please kindly take cognizance of all the guides we have given earlier in your presentation so that we will not take much time. Thank you very much. You can go on and make your presentation, Madam.
Good afternoon. My name is Nkazimo Ogbo from Federal Polytechnic Oko, and my topic is insecurity in Nigeria, a clock in the wheel of national development. And my abstract states national development is overall development and collective socio-economic, political, as well as religious advancement of a country. Insecurity, on the other hand, means uncertainty, danger, want of safety, lack of protection and being unsafe, instability, and others. High level of insecurity negatively affects national development and every other sector. In recent times, Nigeria has started with insecurity arising from bandits, unknown gunmen, kidnappers, and a lot of them. This paper examines how insecurity poses challenges to national development. The paper recommends, among others, that government at all levels should invest more on security and from time to time, retrain the security personnel, and by so doing, create a conducive environment for national development. Then my background of study. My background of study states that we need to identify and examine how insecurity is a clock for national development. The purpose of study is to examine insecurity as a cog in the wheel of national development. This study aims at identifying how insecurity is a cog in the wheel of national development and the root causes of insecurity as a cog in the wheel of national development in Nigeria, and suggesting ways of unclogging insecurity from the wheel of national development in Nigeria. Then my main paper, insecurity as a cog in the wheel of national development in Nigeria. Insecurity is most intractable problem confronting the country. An empirical evidence in the wheel 2021 showed that security challenges in Nigeria has continued to assume a fundamental dimensions threatening Nigerian statehood. Nigeria has been entangled in the fireballs of insecurity, leading to deaths of innocent civilians, foreigners, members of nation security personnel, and elected officials. The problem of insecurity has assumed alarming dimensions, forcing further development to a halt. Thus, insecurity is seen as a cog in the wheel of national development. The Nigerian President, Major General Muhammad Buhari, retired 2021, stated that insecurity manifested as insurgency, banditry, kidnapping, and urban crime of all sorts, and is the single most difficult challenges facing the nation. He expressed concerns that insecurity had inhibited government's ability to build infrastructures, provide the much needed social services to the people, and to attract investment that drive innovation, create industries, provide jobs, and create wealth. Insecurity disturbs political stability of the country, thus slowing the national development. Then my conclusion states that the highest problem confronting our country is the issues of insecurity. The rate of bombings and killings currently seen in eastern and northern parts of Nigeria is doing a lot of damages to the nation. Inadequate security of lives and property of the citizen is a severe clog in the wheel of national development. Insecurity occasioned by the activities of militants, unknown gunmen, kidnappers, violent armed robbers, and more especially Boko Haram in the country can shorten our dream of national development, if not shared by the government. This can be done by government providing effective leadership and good governance, ensuring well-equipped and coordinated security. Then my recommendations. I recommend that the government needs to set up physical security measures around the country through provision of security facilities and development of strict measures to be meted on the security defaulters. Then government must be proactive in dealing with security issues and threats through training, modern methods of intelligence gathering and intelligence sharing, logistics, and deploying advanced technology in managing security challenges. Education planners and policymakers should include security study in the curriculum at all levels of education from primary, secondary, and tertiary institutions in Nigeria. And finally, government should develop means of creating an economy with relevant social, economic, and physical infrastructure for business operations and industrial growth to provide gainful employment, functional and useful education, and quality health care for people. Thank you. I have finished.
Thank you very much, Father, for your compliance with that guide. It's actually commendable. Thank you. Let me, at this point, hand you over to the chairperson for her observation. Chairperson.
Thank you, Madam.
Thank you, ma'am.
Presentation on insecurity in Nigeria, a plug in the wheel of national development. I want to commend your efforts in writing this paper. However, I have the following observations. First, your abstract should be in single line spacing. Please know that. And then you need to provide some keywords. Keywords, about 4 or 5 of them. Okay. This is also very, very important. I want to say that your referencing is okay. I can see that you actually follow the latest style of referencing of APA. This is commendable. So
thank you, ma'am.
For this.
Thank you.
Presentation.
Thank you.
Thank you. I have to say, and just schedule them. It's not their time now. I think, thank you so much, Madam Ngozi. Thank you very much. You're welcome. Thank you. I hope you have taken note of all the observation raised. Thank you so much. Then, Engineer Abdullahi, you can unmute yourself. Engineer Abdullahi, using GPRS. Engineer Abdullahi, you can please go ahead and make your presentation now. You can actually share your video so that we can see you. You can share your video so that we can see you. Thank you. Engineer Abdullahi, are you there?
I'm with you.
Is there? He has even unmuted. Engineer Abdullahi, are you there?
I'm with you. I'm almost with you. I'm there. Why are you seeing my video?
I think they have shutted them down. They shut all their network down in Kaduna. They have a time they always open their network.
Are you seeing me?
Kaduna, Zamfara. Even in Kaduna, there's a part of Kaduna that they took time.
Are you seeing me? They are already on my PowerPoint.
Since there's not, I think we can have. Okay, I think he's back. He's not back. He's not back. We can have the presentation of Victoria. Victoria is supposed to is security challenge and the for work relationships. Victoria, please, you can unmute yourself, madam. You can unmute yourself so that you will take your presentation. You have 7 minutes, and please take note of all the points raised on the guide on how to make your presentation to be as fast as possible. Miss Victoria Oguyemi, you can unmute yourself now and have your presentation.
Okay, you have already skipped the engineer lesson. You have skipped the engineer lesson.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon, go ahead.
Good afternoon, sir.
Go ahead, please.
Can you see me? Good afternoon, sir.
Good afternoon, go ahead, please, and make your presentation.
Okay, I'm Oguyemi Victoria from Lagos State Polytechnic, and I'm presenting a paper titled Security Challenges and Implications for Workplace Relationships. Recently, Nigeria has witnessed an unprecedented level of insecurity, and this has threatened Nigeria's security and has prompted huge allocation of the national budget to security. The alarming rate of insecurity in Nigeria has increased the crime rate and terrorist attacks in different parts of the country, leaving unpalatable consequences for the nation's economy and workplace relationships. In order to ameliorate the incidence of crime, the federal government has embarked on criminalization of terrorism by passing the Anti-Terrorism Act. Security challenges can be traced to the early years of military rule when large quantities of arms were imported into the country for the use of the military during and after Nigeria's civil war, some of which got into the hands of the civilians. Soon after the Civil War, these arms were used by civilians and ex-military men for mischievous purposes such as armed robbery. LD positive relationships are one of the 5 pillars of authentic well-being identified by Seligman. Relationships is of most important source of life satisfaction and well-being. The quality of our relationship at work matters not only for our ability to flourish personally, but it is also likely to enhance our sense of achievement. A winning streak cannot be maintained without forging and maintaining positive and mutually beneficial relationships. The ever-increasing necessity for sustained and amicable relationships in this intertwined and globalized world has changed how people deal with each other. Deep personal connections keep people engaged with their organization and motivate to each newer heights. However, such relationship requires nurturing and maintenance. The purpose of this paper is to provide a synthesis of existing knowledge on effects of insecurity on workplace relationships by integrating diverse explorations and to propose a strategy for security management. Insecurity connotes different meanings. Absence of safety, danger, hazard, uncertainty, lack of protection, and lack of safety. Insecurity, as stated by Bernard 2005, is the state of fear or anxiety stemming from
Please,
the concrete
you can
or alleged lack
take cognizance of the guide we gave earlier by speaking to your paper. Just talk to your paper. Let us have your objectives, your methodology, your findings, conclusion, and recommendation, so that we can actually have record time. Thank you.
Poverty, porous borders, systematic and political corruption. Then, what are the measures for tackling security challenges in Nigeria? Good governance, creating of employment to unemployed youth, equipment of security agents. Then, security challenges in any environment constitute threats to lives and properties and discourage local and foreign investors, all of which stifles and retard development of a country. It is therefore apparent that national security is a necessity for business and economic growth and development of any country. The federal government should therefore formulate and effectively implement policies and programs that are capable of addressing the root causes of insecurity in Nigeria. The federal government should also establish a more viable and results-oriented agency capable of addressing the problem of abject poverty, unemployment among large population of Nigeria.
You have less than
government
2 minutes
should also
to
be
wrap
proactive
up
in
your
dealing
presentation,
with,
please.
yes, I'm almost
You have less than
rounding
2
up.
minutes.
Government should be proactive in dealing with security issues and threats through training and modern method of intelligence gathering and intelligence sharing, And again, federal government should include levels in Nigeria. Thank you.
Thank you, Mrs. Oguyemi. Let me hand you over to the chairperson to actually make observations on your presentation while you make notes of all the observations raised. Chairperson.
Thank you, Madam,
Thank you,
for
ma.
the presentation on security challenges and the implications for workplace relationships. I want you to take notes of the following observations, please.
Okay, ma.
Starting from your abstracts, please
Okay,
review
ma.
the abstracts and make certain corrections there.
Okay, ma.
See some editorial errors there, need to be
Okay, ma.
corrected. Then your sub-headings should be
Okay,
in
ma.
initial caps.
Initial caps.
Initial caps, you don't need to capitalize everything when it comes
Okay,
to
ma.
spelling. And then there is no need for sectionalization that you have section 1. No, that is not needed at all. Don't
Okay, ma.
sectionalize. Just use the sub-headings.
Okay, ma.
You understand what I mean?
Yes, ma. Yes, ma.
Then your conclusion
Okay, ma.
before recommendations. I want you to separate this. Conclusion first, followed by
recommendation.
Recommendations. That would be better. And I think that's all I have for you.
Thank you, ma.
That's technical aspect of the paper.
Okay,
Thanks
ma.
for your presentation.
Thank you, ma.
Thank you, Mr. William. You can please take note of those observations. And when you take note of these observations, you correct the paper accordingly so that we can be published in the next edition of our journal. Then I would love to take Mr. Isaac back. I have him in the waiting room. He has been admitted. Let us please wait for Mr. Isaac to join us. Mr. Isaac. I think he's connecting his audio. If Mr. Isaac is not readily available, let us take Engineer Al-Hassan. Engineer Al-Hassan, you can unmute yourself and let us have your presentation. Engineer Al-Hassan, you can unmute yourself, let us have your presentation. Engineer Al-Hassan will be talking to us on development and implementation of an internet home automation system using GPRS. Engineer Al-Hassan, you can unmute yourself.
Okay, sir.
Engineer Al-Hassan, you can as well share your video so that we can see you. You can share your video so that we can see you. Let me say how to do.
I'm talking to the house. Are you seeing me?
Engineer Hassan, you are talking, but we cannot have your audio. You can please work on your device and let us try this back. Let me take, I will mute you now and take Mr. Ishaq. Mr. Isaac, please, you can unmute yourself now, Mr. Isaac, and conclude your presentation that you were actually having. Mr. Isaac, you can unmute yourself now and conclude your presentation, please. You have less than 3 minutes to do that.
Okay. Okay, thank you. Hello? Hello?
Go ahead, please.
So, sorry, we are having a problem. So, under the quality of national policy issues through the academia and touch
Are you seeing me there? Over there? Mr. Speaker. Are you seeing me over there? Are you seeing me over there, Mr. Speaker? Are you seeing me?
Thank you, Mr. Isiaq Abubakar. Please take note of the following. The body of the paper should be in double line spacing. It's only the after that you have to write in single line spacing. The body should be in double line spacing, please. Then the references should be arranged in alphabetical order. Looking at your references, that is not well done. There are irregularities there. Then your conclusion should be separated from the recommendation. Again, in in-text citation, that is when you are citing your sources in the body of your paper, you do not include the author's initials. It's only the author's surname and date that will be needed. So please take note of these and make necessary corrections so that your paper may be published in the next edition of Agenda. Thank you.
Mr. Isiaq, I hope you have a grip of what the observations raised by the chairperson. Let me go back to you, Engineer Al-Hassan. We heard you clearly yesterday when we were having pre-conference briefing, but today we are having challenges to your network. Let us try again whether we'll have a clear path this time around. Engineer Al-Hassan, go ahead, please.
Okay.
Engineer Al-Hassan, please, I can still not have your audio. We don't have audio from this end, please. We don't have your audio from this end.
Okay, but I'm hearing you. I don't know whether you are hearing me over there.
let us give him a benefit of that. So that.
Are you hearing me over there? Hello? Are you hearing me over there? Are you hearing me over there?
Engineer Lassan, we still cannot have you. And let me take Uzoma Kelechi will actually talk to us on, will make presentation on local government administration and financial management, the role of taxation. Mr. Kelechi, you can unmute yourself, please, and let us have your presentation.
All right, can you hear me good there?
Go ahead, please. You have 7 minutes, please. Just please ensure that you comply with the guide we have given out earlier so that we maximize our time appropriately. Thank you.
All right.
You can go ahead and make your presentation.
I'm Uzoma Kelechi, Primary University, Nigeria, Aba. Speaking on the topic or the title, Local Government Administration and Financial Management, the role of taxation. In a word of introduction, I'd like to start by saying every modern state or nation requires a lot of revenue to be able to provide and maintain essential services for our citizens. And one major means or source of revenue through which the government can achieve this objective is through taxation. One will ask, what is taxation? Taxation is a system by which a government or tax authority imposes or levies a tax on her citizens or business entities. According to Anyanwu 1997, taxation is a compulsory transfer of payment from private individuals, institutional, or group of persons to the government. It is worth noting that the transfer and payment are meant to be used to achieve both the micro and the macro objective of government. But we have a problem. The impact of this tax paid has not been felt by the payee and thus put in doubt and confusion as the use of the fund. How are the proceeds of taxation being used in the local government? How effective is the local government, in their utilization of the taxpayers' money? This can be attributed to the number of reasons: corruption, policy issues, lack of tax incentive, of course, multiple tax rates. If you come to local government, there is constitutional provision of taxation. The local governments have the power to collect taxes, fees, charges, and levies, such as the marriage, birth, death, registration fee, motor park levies, shop and kiosk rate, right of occupancy on land or rural areas, and lots more. What this means is that the extent to which a government, be it the local government or the state or the federal, can perform its function depends largely on the system of taxation designed and the willingness of the government. Of course, the tax system should be based on sound principles of equity, certainty, convenience, productivity, and some other principles of taxation. The work adopted a regressive model where we used ROGDP that captured the growth rate of the local government as a function of the marriage, birth rate, the kiosk shop rate, the rate of occupancy, which we used as MARKROS, ROL. From our unit root test, because we ran a unit root test, ROGDP was integrated at other two at 5% degree of freedom, while the marriage birth rate was integrated at other one can be seen there at 5% degree of freedom. Having been integrated at different orders, we then ran our analysis using the OLS model. From our model, you can see that the work, we found out that marriage birth did not impact significantly on the administration of the local government. On the other hand, the shop kiosk rate shows a significant impact on developmental in the implemental process of the local government. The same thing goes for the rate of occupancy on land, which were from the analysis contributed significantly to the growth of our local government. From the same analysis, we can find out that our row square is 0.96, showing that 96% of the variation was captured, while our double showing 1.88 is telling us that the analysis has good fit and there is no presence of autocorrelation. In conclusion, we can see that the local government, the local government collected taxes impacted on the administration of the local government, and there is need for proper administration in these taxes. We therefore recommend that taxes collected in local government should be free from corruption. We also recommended that the taxpayers' money should be properly utilized, as this will reduce tax avoidance and tax evasion. Finally, we also recommended that the local government should set up its revenue courts to enable her effectively administer and, of course, grow. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Kelechi, for that wonderful presentation and timing as well. Let me quickly
thank you so much.
Hand you over to the chairperson for comments or observations on your presentation. Chairperson.
Thank you very much, Mr. Uzoma, for the presentation of your paper titled Local Government Administration and Financial Management, the role of taxation. Please, I would like you to note the following. One, there are some editorial errors noticed in your paper. Please need to go through the paper again, starting from the abstract, and do some corrections. Then use initial caps for subheadings. Your subheadings should be in initial caps. And again, please separate your conclusion from your recommendations. Thank you once again for the presentation.
Thank you so much, Doc.
Thank you, Mr. Kelechi. I think with this, let us try having Engineer Al-Hassan back. If we are unable to have your audio this time around, I will just implore the chairperson to kindly raise observations on your paper while you take note of it. Then we actually call it a day. We'll be through for this technical session with Engineer Al-Hassan. Engineer Al-Hassan, you can unmute yourself now. Let us try this again and see whether we can have your presentation. Engineer Al-Hassan, please. You can unmute yourself. Engineer Al-Hassan, it seems the problem still persists. Let me, on this note, hand your paper over to the chairperson for observation. Chairperson, ma'am.
Thank you. Please, Mr. Al-Hassan, take note of these few observations. In your in-text citation, please remove author's initials. Let's have only the surname and the dates. Then you also need to go through the paper again to correct some errors there. And apart from these, the subheadings should be in initial caps. So please take note of this, and then let's have your references, please. Revisit your references. Let your references be in line with the upper style of referencing, please. Thank you so much for your presentation.
Thank you, Engineer Al-Hassan. We have actually, please kindly note the observation of the chairperson and make corrections accordingly so that we can return the paper for possible publication in the next edition of our journals. Thank you very much. And it is on this note that we like to draw the curtain on the first technical session of this conference. The first technical session of this conference. I want to specially appreciate the Dean. The Dean is sitting right by my side. Dr. Tio Adebayo, thank you for standing by our side from this morning up to this moment. I want to equally appreciate Alhaji L.A. Oyebamiji, is the treasurer of the Research and Publications Committee. I want to especially appreciate him. I want to appreciate the technical man himself, Mr. Madru. Mr. Madru has been wonderful. Thank you very much. I want to appreciate the heroine of this conference, as Mrs. F.Y. Olubato. She has been on and off here. Let me appreciate our United Kingdom liaison officer, Mr. Ibrahim Motaju, for taking time to be with us. He was with us in the morning and now he's still with us. Let me appreciate Mr. Bankefa. He was actually the one that made all the papers sent to be readily available for our chairmen and chairpersons of technical session for their comments out, for them to have read it before now and make comments and observation. Thank you. I want to appreciate the members of the Dean's office, starting from the Secretary to the Dean, Mr. Nwujue, Mr. Agbenga, Mr. Said, Mr. Adebayo, and others that are too important for me that I might not be able to mention them. I want to appreciate the school officer as well, Mr. Adewoyi. Everybody here has been wonderful since morning. I want to especially appreciate the chairperson for calling her, and she answered us to share from her wealth of experience. Thank you, Ma. We really, despite your tight schedule, we still make it a day with us. We appreciate that so much. Thank you very much. I want to appreciate all our participants and guests that joined us here. Reverend Igilola, I want to appreciate you. Let me appreciate Madam Dr. Olasumbo Oyebolu for being with us on this technical session after her keynote address. Thank you. Mrs. Buhari, thank you. Mr. Salaudin Said, Mr. Olatikwe Stephen, Madam Ngozi Mogo, thank you very much. I want to, on behalf of the chairperson, Mrs. CEO Ileko, thank all of you for wonderful presentations. We'll resume our technical session back tomorrow by 9 o'clock. Our technical session tomorrow will start by 9, and all the people that tomorrow should please take note of the guide we have released today, and we want to make our presentations as fast as possible. Thank you so much. Thank you very, very much. I want to thank you specially. Now you can unmute yourself so that we'll actually fellowship. I want to thank myself too for being here this morning and moderating this event. It's actually not easy. It's an experience I enjoy. It's what I enjoy doing, and I still love doing it. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. God bless you. We can all unmute ourselves to actually present with ourselves. Thank you. We can unmute ourselves and.
Hello, sir.
Thank you. Mr. Isaac, I think we actually noted the topic on screen. You can work on that paper and send it for access and possible publication. Thank you. Mr. Abiodun, thank you. Thank you so much. Mr. Kiyomi, thank you. Mr. Kelechi, thank you. Thank you very much. We'll draw the curtain today and we'll reconvene tomorrow morning by 9 o'clock. Thank you very much. God bless you all.